Gio's Garden is the place to keep families together.
How are you, bud?
Our primary focus is a respite center, so we're a place where families can drop off their kiddos. But we actually changed the word respite to therapeutic respite. And we come up with specific goals for each kiddo, and then we design those goals into everyday play.
That Spot, he hasn't eaten his supper. Whoa.
We essentially have a wonderful son who was developing normally up until a few years ago, really, and all of a sudden he just stopped. And as he gets older, the distinguish between, what a normal 6-year-old is like and what our son is like becomes more apparent. And so our reality is he will stop talking, he'll stop walking, he'll be wheelchair bound, he'll end up with a feeding tube. He potentially will need help breathing if that's a decision that we make. And eventually we're just going to watch our son just fade away, unfortunately, until he passes, and we don't know when it's gonna happen. And we live every day with the fact knowing that we can't do anything about it. There's no treatment, there's nothing.
A lot of families, when you're pregnant and you have a child, you're expecting football star, music or artist or whatever it might be, and then all of a sudden you're grieving the loss of what you thought your life might be.
Gio's is everything to us. Gio's is Colin's favorite place on earth. One of the very few words that Colin has left is Gio's. It has changed our life in so many countless ways. We can't even ever thank them enough. My husband and I have a date night every Tuesday. There's most people with normal developing children who don't have a date night once a week, but we have been able to take that time for ourselves. Really, truly, we're the lucky ones. No one signs up for this gig to be a parent of a special needs child, let alone, one who has a fatal disorder that you can't do anything about. And Gio's has become his favorite thing in the entire world. And when we lose that, it's gonna be the hardest day of my life.
We celebrate with our families, we cry with our families. When they're struggling, we're struggling with them, and we just try however we can to keep moving forward and making sure they keep moving forward and that they aren't giving up, and again, someone's there for them.
Can you tell what it is?
So what we found out was that Calvin had a stroke and was having constant seizures. And we don't know what happened first, but the thing is we didn't know for almost a day that he'd had a stroke or that he was even having constant seizures, because the movements and things he was making was not typical of what you would expect a seizure to look like, and they just knew things were really critical. When you have kids with special needs, especially when it's a situation like Calvin's where, people ask, what's his prognosis for the future? And nobody knows. We spent the next year working with Gio's to get him just to be able to be around other kids. And if we wouldn't have had Gio's to offer that support for him, I can honestly say we'd be in a different place. And I just hope that everybody realizes that there is support and hope.
It is really hard to navigate the world with a special needs child and all the resources, and this is a place where he gets therapeutic respite. There's, recreational therapists and occupational therapists and nurses that are here where you can't get that anywhere else.
Everyone's story is unique, but there is so much commonality that we can find and support that we can find when we are thinking about our kids that are a little bit different.
We also want him to impact people too, and the impact that he has on others' lives. Hopefully Colin's legacy will live on a little bit at Gio's.
It makes me feel like I'm not alone. And that's the biggest piece, really.